So I'm sitting on the bench in the ambulance, and I can feel every bump in the road. I'm actually slipping and sliding, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm in an ambulance. I should actually feel pretty secure in here, and yet I didn't. Isn't it funny how sometimes in the face of a crisis, your brain can focus on the smallest little thing? Just a half an hour before that, I was at my temple. We were celebrating Diwali, which is our Hindu New Year. And I was coming down the stairs, and I heard somebody say, there's a person who's been hurt, and they've called an ambulance. The ambulance is on its way. So I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I hope this person is okay. And then suddenly, my heart just sunk right into my stomach when I processed and realized, wait a minute, my father's on the altar. So when we got my dad to the hospital, he had sustained significant burns. And the doctor said to us at the time that he had 40% chance of living. Now, I was 17 years old at the time, and I was refusing to choose to accept the fact that he could die. So my mom, my brother, and I, we came together and we said, you know what? We're going to do everything we can, whatever it takes to keep our father in this, to fight it with us. He's going to survive. The crazy thing is that in my little teenage mind at that point in time, the thing I was most worried about is that I didn't want to cry in front of my dad, because I thought that if he saw me crying, it would upset him, and I didn't want to upset him. So I would avoid going into his room in the mornings when he was awake, and I waited until the afternoons on most days when he was sedated, and then I would hang out with him for the rest of the time. Now, little did I know at that moment that I would only have two precious weeks with my dad before he passed away. So when I lost my dad, I kept thinking to myself, this has to have some meaning behind it. It can't all be for naught. And so I thought there are some lessons that I need to take away from his passing. And I've thought of these 3 things that are going to guide the rest of my life. Number 1, I want to make every moment count. You know, you never know what life has to hold. You never know what tomorrow will hold. I certainly didn't when I lost my dad. So I wasn't going to take any chances. And number 2, I refuse to live with any regret. The decisions that you make are the decisions that are now already in the past. You can't change them. And so even though I didn't get a chance to really converse with my dad, I felt like I've got to keep moving on and learn from the lessons that I have. And number 3, I want to express gratitude. Every moment when I can, I want to be able to thank the people around me, because here's the thing that haunted me ever since my father passed away. I never had a chance to have a proper conversation with him in those last couple of weeks. I didn't get a chance to tell him how much I loved him. I didn't get a chance to tell him thank you. And I didn't even get a chance to communicate to him the impact that he had had on my life. And so I thought, I'm going to learn from this and make sure that it never, ever happens again. But here's what happens. Life gets busy, right? We're constantly on the go. We're busy. But in the back of my mind, I kept thinking to myself that I didn't want to find myself in the same position with my mom as I did with my dad. I'm really close to my mom. And so I felt to myself that if I found myself one day at my mother's funeral, would I even have the strength to do justice to the impact she left on me? So I thought, I'm not going to take those chances. So one day I sat down and I wrote her a living eulogy. And in it, I poured my heart out about the things that I admired about her the most, the way that she impacted my life, the things that I saw from her, and then I gave it to her. Now, I would love to get on stage and brag about being super clever and pre-planned to have her read it on her birthday. It turns out it was a fluke. She just happened to read it on her birthday. So I'd called her in the morning, wished her happy birthday, went on with my day. And then the next day, I came to her and I said, Mom, did you have a chance to read that eulogy? Now, her reaction altered the course of the work that I would do for the rest of my life. She said to me, I did have a chance to read that, Keka, and I wanted to call you, but really, to be honest, I was so overcome by joy. I was so overwhelmed. I wanted to run out the front door and shout out to the world and say, look at this, look at what my daughter wrote for me. Look at the impact she said that I have on her. She said, I didn't know whether I should be crying, happy tears. I don't know if I should be laughing. She said, I just felt like this was the greatest gift that anybody could ever give me. It's like she had a shot of dopamine or something. She was on this high. The funny thing is this. She felt like that was that happy pill. But for me, inside of me, when I watched her reaction, I was like, okay, who else can I talk to? Who else can I say thank you to? Who else has had this impact on me? And it made me realize that so often, every day, we go about our daily lives, we have amazing impacts on people. But we don't realize it. We don't know it. And then the people who get that impact say thank you inside their hearts. They feel that thank you, but then they actually never communicate that back to us. So every single one of you has had an incredible impact on somebody, and you may be walking around and you have no idea. And vice versa. So then I started to think about this idea of gratitude. If you go online today and you look up practicing gratitude, there are over 20,000 apps, books, audiobooks, all teaching us how to practice gratitude. The media today talk about gratitude being the greatest global self-help trend in the world. But here's what we're doing. We're writing in our gratitude journals every morning or every night saying, I'm so grateful for this person. We're practicing daily affirmations. But all of that is staying right inside ourselves. We're not sharing it with other people, and so they don't know. So what if we could take this self-help trend and turn it into a world help trend? If every single one of us took a couple of moments to give that happy pill and pay that gratitude forward to somebody, and then experience it right back, that side effect of happiness that comes right back to you, we could disrupt the world with gratitude. Because you see, the other thing is that in this world today, all around us, we are experiencing what I would call a self-worth crisis. I have two beautiful little boys who are 11 and 7 years old, and I hear so many stories around bullying at school, and it's a little scary as a parent. When I started to do some research around this, I found some of the things that students talked about broke my heart. They would say, I feel invisible. I feel like a nobody. I feel like if I came to school tomorrow, nobody would notice. And this problem isn't just among students. The American Mental Health Associations talk about the fact that over 40 million people in North America suffer from anxiety. It is our number one mental health problem today. So we've got people feeling lonely and anxious, feeling like they're invisible, that they don't matter. And yet, we have people leaving imprints on us every day in powerful ways, and they have no idea that they're even doing that. Why do we have a gap here? It's time that we change that. You see, how many times do we think that we are not enough? How many times do we hear messages around us that we're not enough? Our children are doing their homework and they're kind of laxing, and we're like, hey, listen, get to work, focus, this is not good enough. I might have a workout and say, I really didn't put 100% in. Oh my God, that was not enough. My husband might be late to pick me up, and I'll say, you were late and I had to wait. That's not good enough. I'm in marketing and public relations, and I work with all kinds of brands every day, and we're always telling people how much they need us. You need a teeth whitener because your teeth aren't white enough. You need a better shampoo because your hair is not shiny enough. We're hearing it all the time. So we need to change that conversation and start telling people, even if it's a small thing, a micro legacy, it can make a big difference for us at the end of the day. So when we start to focus on gratitude, there are all kinds of scientific studies that show that gratitude can actually change our brain chemistry. We feel more positive. We feel happier about ourselves. Not only that, but we eat better, we sleep better, we have better relationships with people, our health markers get better, so physically and mentally we improve. According to the Journal of Psychology and Sociology, gratitude has been proven to create happiness that's lasting within us. A 2-year Harvard Business Review found that practicing gratitude will actually help companies become more resilient. Employees take more risk-taking with a positive viewpoint. But how many times have you been at work where you've had your annual review and we talk about all the things that you haven't done? Let's create a plan. We're going to improve it. You are not enough. We know, though, that people who go to work who experience gratitude are twice as productive and twice as happy, and they stay longer with their companies. So let's disrupt the world with gratitude. It's just a little thing. And the most beautiful thing about when you pay gratitude forward, when you put it into action, is that it doesn't cost a thing. It's time and intention. And everybody around the world, no matter where you live, whether you're young or you're old, whether you're sick, whether you're poor, it doesn't matter. Anybody can pay that gratitude forward in some way and make that difference for somebody. So I'm going to share just a little story with you. It's a story about a friend of mine. Her name is Carlene. When I was in grade 3, I was a bit of a procrastinator, and I had a science project that was due. I had a week left to go, and I was panicking inside because I had no idea what I was going to do the project on. So I'm sitting in the library, and I have this worried look on my face, and I pick up a book. It happened to be about an aquarium. Very randomly, I picked it up, and Carlene came to me and said, "Are you okay? You look really worried." And I said, "Well, I've got 1 week to go, and I don't know what to do. I'm really, really scared." Then the bell rang, and in passing, I said, maybe I'll do it on fish. So I'm looking at the picture of aquariums. So we called it a day. We went to class and went on with our day. The next day, I'm standing in the hallway at school, and I see Carlene running over to me, and she has a package in her hand with like a paper plate covered over it. She came running to me, and she said, "Keka, listen, I was at my babysitter's last night, and I didn't get a chance to do a lot, but I did want to help you with your science project, and I made you this goldfish." It was a little paper mache goldfish, and it had like the paper ribbons from birthday banners. She must have taken whatever she had at her babysitter's, wrapped it up, and she gave me this goldfish. Now, I didn't have the heart to tell her that my mom had helped me come up with this project around shadows. It was going to be much easier. But I took that goldfish with everything that it had in me. It came from so much love. And I kept that goldfish forever, like to the point where it disintegrated and I had crumbs of paper mache and pieces of paper. But here's the thing. I've known her since junior kindergarten. I was her bridesmaid at her wedding. She has 2 beautiful boys. I have never shared this story with her. So today I'm going to share this story in hopes that Carlene's going to hear it. And I have something that I want to share with her that will express my gratitude. So I had this little picture made with a hand-drawn goldfish, and it says "Heart of Gold" on it. So when I get back, I'm going to give this to Carlene and say, "Carlene, this to me represents your heart." And it's been an imprint that's been left on me since grade 3, because the heart that you had to do something so thoughtful, even though it was really small, it meant the world to me. And it's a pleasure for me to now say that for her sons to hear it, to know how much their mother has a heart of gold. So often we have passive conversations with each other. All too often we walk around and we say, "Hi, how are you?" "Oh, I'm fine, thank you." I used to work at IKEA. I was there for 7 years, and the Swedes who had come to North America always thought that we were really peculiar that way, because somebody would come and say, "Hi, how are you?" and they'd say, "Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Actually this morning I wasn't feeling really good. I kind of got up on the wrong side of the bed. I was trying to make breakfast in my toast cupboard." And all of us North Americans are like, "Yeah, that's really great. Yeah. I really didn't want to know." And the Swedes are always like, "Why would you ask the question if you don't actually want to know the answer?" So let's take a moment then and think about the passive conversations we have. And think about the things that have been left unsaid. The beautiful things you carry in your heart around for the people that have made that impact on you. And show them that they matter. By doing that, you're going to reach them at their most fundamental depth, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs talks about self-actualization, about being able to leave an imprint on somebody and showcasing that they matter. When you pay that gratitude forward, you're telling somebody, "You mean something to me. You matter. You belong." It is the highest compliment to their self-worth and their self-validation. So Think about that in terms of who you want to talk to and what you want to say. I'm going to leave you with one final thought. There's a particular date that I want to share with you. January 13th, 2018. If you lived in the island of Hawaii, or you were a tourist there during that time, chances are you got a message on your text, you got a text on your phone at some point that said, "A missile strike is imminent. Seek shelter immediately." If you were in Hawaii at that time and you received that text message, what would be left unsaid? Who would you call? What would you tell them? I'm asking you the next time, the very next moment you have, perhaps a break today, take that moment and share that message with them, something that's been left unsaid where you can pay your gratitude forward. Together, let's disrupt this world with gratitude. Thank you.